Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to my reading corner. Hope you're doing well. This is my June TBR for the month. It's quite heavily stacked, but I feel like after having a good reading month in May, that's the reason for it. I'll go through what I'm currently reading quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I've shown this a few times now. I'm still need to get on with this because I've been reading it for ages and wanting to read it and still want to read it, but it's just took me a while. But I'm hoping now I'm less tired. I'm hoping to delve into it now this month and carry on with it and make a good start in it. I'm also reading Clive Barker, The Books of Blood. I want to read volume 2 this month as well as the last 2 stories in volume 1 still, but I've realised there's 7 stories left in this, and I've got 7 stories in my other 2 short story collections, so I'm going to read one of each when I finish a novel. Talking of short story collection, I'm reading Broken Stars by Ken Liu. Not by Ken Liu, it was edited and translated by Ken Liu. I'm also reading The Papermen Agree by Ken Liu. This was written by Ken Liu, but yeah, I'm enjoying this book as well. This is a reread. Read it a couple of times now and really enjoy the stories in this. I've just read The Papermen Agree recently. That was a really good story about a guy. He's half Chinese and half American, and his mother speaks more Chinese because she doesn't really speak much English, and she makes these animals for him and they move and stuff, and she left a note in Chinese in the tiger, which was a really sad story, but one I really enjoyed. So I'm just going to work my way through the short story collections. I'm enjoying each one of those so far. I probably prefer the Ken Liu just because I've read it a couple of times and remember the stories a bit more. But Broken Stars is really good, and Clive Barker is probably one of my unexpected reads this year because I'm really enjoying him. I'm going to get on with the novels. Now, this one behind me, I'm started, although I'm struggling to start because I was trying to read it yesterday, but I just couldn't get into it, and I've not really had a chance to read today, so I'm going to sit down and read this in a bit. But this is by Shisaku Endo, sorry. This is going to be, I think this is already a film, but by Martin Scorsese. So he does a little introduction into it. I'll tell you what it's about. It is 1614, Father Sebastian Rodriguez, an idealistic Jesuit priest, set sail for Japan, determined to help the brutally oppressed Christians there. He is also desperate to discover the truth about his former mentor. Rumoured to have renounced his faith under torture, Rodriguez cannot believe the stories about a man he so revered. But as his journey takes him deeper into Japan and then into the hands of those who would crush his faith, he finds himself forced to make an impossible choice to abandon his flock or his God. The recipients, that's just about, it got the 1966 Tanizaki Prize. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I keep saying this about covers, how just basic and simplistic they are, but to me that's just perfect. It's not too much. I mean, I don't really like that, obviously, but I could do without that, but the rest of it I like the cover of. So that's what I'm currently reading as well, but that's what I'm going to start. Well, I'm going to try and get quite a chunk read tonight. Then I'm going to read Stoner by John Williams. I don't know, I've heard of John Williams, and I know he wrote Butcher's Crossing as well, and some other novels as well. I'm not really sure what he's written. Never read John Williams, but I heard Nick talk about it on Books Are Sick, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I might see if my library's got that, and they did. So all these are library books, I think, that I'm reading this month, apart from, yeah, mostly library books. Tell you what this is about. William Stoner enters the University of Missouri at 19 to study agriculture. Later he becomes a teacher. He marries the wrong woman. His life is quiet, and after his death, his colleagues remember him rarely. Yet with truthfulness, compassion and intense power, this novel uncovers a story of universal value. Stoner tells of the conflicts, defeats and victories of the human race that pass unrecorded by history, and reclaims the significance of an individual life, a reading experience like no other. Itself a paean to the power of literature. It is a novel to be savoured. That sounds really interesting. Again, I've not read any John Williams, don't own it. I love the Red Spine classics, as you can see, but this is one I don't have and fancied reading it, so I'll give that a read after silence. Then I've got, the next story I've got is The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ajatsui. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh, glare. I'll tell you what this is about. The lonely rock-bound island of Tsushima is notorious as the site of a series of bloody unsolved murders. Some may even say it's haunted. One thing's for sure, it's the perfect destination for K University Mystery Club's trip. But when the first club member turns up dead, the remaining amateur sleuths realise they will need all of their murder mystery expertise to get off the island alive. As the party are picked off one by one, the survivors grow desperate and paranoid. Oh, got one of them touch lamps and touched it, went off then. As the party are picked off one by one, the survivors grow desperate and paranoid, turning on each other. Will anyone be able to untangle the murderer's fiendish plan before it's too late? That sounds really good. Another Japanese murder mystery. I can't wait to read that as well. I was trying to get my water, then the light went off because it's one of them touch lamps. Try not to do that again. And then I've got How Do You Live by Genzoburo Yoshini, I think. And I didn't realise, but it's actually got a foreword by Neil Gaiman, which is an author I really like. Not sure what this one's about. I had an idea about the murder one, but not so much this. So this is the streets of Tokyo swarm below 15-year-old Copper as he gazes out into the city of his childhood, struck by the thought of the infinite people whose lives play out alongside his own. He begins to wonder, how do you live? Considering life's biggest questions, for the first time, Copper turns to his dear uncle for heartwarming wisdom. As the old man guides the boy on a journey of philosophical discovery, a timeless tale unfolds, offering a poignant reflection on what it means to be human. So that sounds quite good, and I didn't know the Neil Gaiman forward until now, so I'm looking forward to that even more now. Then I've got The Plotters by Soo Kim. I'm not sure what this one's about either, to be honest with you. This says, Racing has always been a hitman. He receives his orders from the plotters, the shadowy bosses pulling the strings, and follows them to the letter, until the day he decides to break the rules and lets a victim die how she chooses. From then on, it seems his every move is being watched. Have the plotters decided his days are numbered? And if he doesn't even know who they are, how can he possibly hope to escape them? Wow, that sounds good. I had no idea what that was about. I mean, the cover looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a busier cover than what I like usually, but I quite like the top part of it, and then the guy's face. So I'm looking forward to reading that. as well. I'm saying I look forward to reading all these, but I genuinely am. And then this is the Our Sour Murders. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's by Riku Onda. This looks like a good one. Just 1 second. On a stormy summer day in the 1970s, the Sours, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, owners of a prominent local hospital host a large birthday party in their villa on the Sea of Japan. The occasion turns to tragedy when 17 people die, poisoned by cyanide placed in their drinks. The only clues to what might have happened is a cryptic verse that could be the killers, and the fact that the Asawa's blind daughter, Isako, was the only family member spared death. When the prime suspect commits suicide soon after, his actions seem to seal his guilt, but also ensure his motives will remain forever a mystery. Inspector Teru, an origami-obsessed ex-chain smoker, is convinced that Isako had a role in the crime, as are many in the town, including the author of a best-selling book about the murders written 10 years after the incident. Several decades later, the truth is revealed through a skillful juggling of testimony by different voices, family members, witnesses, and neighbours. Police investigators, and of course the mesmerising Isako himself. And at the bottom here, it says, part Kurosawa's Rashomon and part Capote's In Cold Blood. Now, don't know much about either of those, but yeah, that looks really interesting. I just love how simple that cover is as well, again. And then I've got Haruki Murakami, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. I think it's a bit of a memoir. In 1982, having sold his jazz bar to devote himself to writing, Murakami began running to keep fit. A year later, he'd completed a solo course from Athens to Marathon, and now, after dozens of races, not to mention triathlons and a slew of critically acclaimed books, he reflects upon the influence the sport has had on his life and on his writing. That sounds interesting, that. Equal parts travelogue, training log, and reminiscence, this revealing memoir covers his 4-month preparation for the 2005 New York Marathon and settings ranging from Tokyo's Jinjujian Gardens, where he once shared the course with an Olympian, to the Charles River in Boston, among young women who outpace him. Through this marvellous lens of sport emerges a cornucopia of memories and insights. The eureka moment when he decided to become a writer, his greatest triumphs and disappointments, his passion for vintage LPs, and the experience after 50 of seeing his race times improve and then fall back. He by turns funny and sobering, playful and philosophical. What I talk about when I talk about running is rich and revelatory, both for fans of this masterful writer and of the vast number of athletes who find similar satisfaction in distance running. That sounds really interesting, to be honest with you. I didn't realise it was all about more than... Well, I thought it was about running, basically, to be honest with you. I certainly didn't think it'd go into his writing as much, and then his passion for vintage LPs, which I do like my records, although I rarely buy records these days just because I've got a stack that I'm working my way through listening to. So, and also with this book, I'm going to put it down because I want to put it down. With this book as well, there's a mention of him writing, which is something I want to start doing. I've got 3 ideas in mind for novels that I want to do. But I always feel like I pick up a book instead of writing, so I think I'm going to try and maybe plot something and then get it going. And also the running side of it as well. I've always fancied doing like a half marathon, so that book sounds really interesting for all those 3 aspects. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that more now that I've read that, because I just picked it up because I picked it up from the library because I thought it's Haruki Murakami. If I'm buying a Haruki Murakami book, it probably won't be a memoir about running. Whereas if it was a proper novel, I'd probably pick that up. This is Bullet Train by Kotaro Isaka. And this says, Satoshi looks like an innocent teenage schoolboy, but he is really a viciously cunning psychopath. Kimura's young son is in a coma, thanks to Satoshi, and he's tracked him onto the bullet train heading from Tokyo to Morioka to exact his revenge. But Kimura soon discovers that he and Satoshi are not the only dangerous passengers on board. Nano, the self-proclaimed unluckiest assassin in the world, and the deadly partnership of Tangerine and Lemon are also travelling to Morocco. A suitcase full of money leads others to show their hands why they are all on the same train and who will make it to the end of the line. Wow, that sounds good as well. Really good. It's quite a stack, more than I realised I picked out, but like I say, I feel like some of them are just going to be page turners, and since I've moved I've had more time on my hands, so I have read more in May, and I feel like tonight I'm planning on probably try and read about 100 pages of silence if I can, because I feel like I've not struggled to read it, but I've had my son all weekend, so I've struggled to like I took him on the park, but I couldn't relax enough to read it while he was on. I wanted to make sure he was okay, and I mean he's 7, so he's not exactly like, you know, young, but I just can't, you know what I mean, I don't know, I just can't relax because I always worry, you know. I don't think you can relax when you've got kids, to be honest with you, but yeah, I tried reading it and I did quite like what I read, but I feel like I need to reread what I've read and then delve into it, but I am liking the sound of it anyway. Anyway, I've got 2 more novels, and then I've got a couple of poetry books and a couple of manga and a couple of comic books, so I'm not going to take too much longer because I feel like I'm taking a lot of your time. 2 prostitutes have been murdered in Tokyo. Oh, this is, sorry, jumping the gun. This is Grotesque by Natsuo Carino, who also wrote Out. I can't get to the blurb. 2 prostitutes have been murdered in Tokyo. Yuriko had been working as a prostitute all her adult life, starting while still at school, where her stunning beauty compensated for what she lacked in intellect and commanded attention from older men. Kazu worked for a blue-chip company and had good career prospects, but was unpopular with colleagues and felt isolated. She chose to walk the streets at night, where she hoped to get noticed. 20 years previously, both women were educated at an elite school for young ladies, and both exhibited exceptional promise prior to their brutal, unnecessary deaths. How and why did this tragedy occur? With narration from Yuriko's embittered, unattractive sister, and through the girls' journals and diaries, Carino allows their shocking story to unfurl. As without, Grotesque gets under the skin, and Carino's analysis of the female psyche grips the reader. The extreme need to succeed and the vicious desire to be accepted in the bewildering environment of modern life is explored here with acute and chilling insight. Grotesque is a masterful and haunting achievement. Wow, that makes me want to read out as well. Wow, that sounds good as well. And then finally, I've got Leon Lee, The Vagrants. I think, yeah, this is a, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a large print. That's what I was saying, large print. I'm not really sure about large print because I feel like it's like, but I do struggle with small print sometimes, so might be alright. So this is, in the spring of 1979, Gu Shan is executed for her loss of faith in communism. Her father is unable to accept what his rebellious daughter has become, and her mother is devastated by the loss of her only child. The citizens of her own town stage a protest after her death and bring new hope as well as new fears and uncertainties. That sounds quite good. I don't feel like that goes probably that much into the story, to be honest with you, but yeah, that sounds okay. I'm not sure how many of those I'm going to get through. Like I say, I mean, I'm going to try and get a good chunk through Silence tonight and then carry on with it tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow, so I've got to commute on 2 buses, so I'm doing, should have done it again. While I'm on 2 buses, I'm going to be reading on my way to work. I'm going to quickly go over the poetry. I'm not going to say too much about these. I'm carrying on with the Bukowski thing, and this is my next one, is The Last Night of the Earth poems by Charles Bukowski. I've got a bookmark in. I worked out there's about 150 poems in this, so I'm going for like about 5 a day over the month. So I've read 10 so far, quite enjoyed what I've read so far. And then I'm also, because it's Allen Ginsberg's birthday, I thought I'd reread Howl and Kaddish and other poems by him. It's just a thin, it's just a thin poetry collection, but I just thought, with it being his birthday in June, I thought I'd read Howl again, since I fancied rereading it anyway. I've also got an uncollected poems by him as well, which I want to read, which I'll probably try and get to at some point, but that's what I wanted to read more out of the 2. Finally, I'm just going to go through some manga quickly and then some comic books. I'm going to read Golden Kamuy 4. It's been a while since I've read Golden Kamuy. I really like the series. It's about a guy who's trying to track down some people who've got tattoos, because all the tattoos are a map for treasure. So I want to try and I want to read this, carry on reading this. With manga again, like I mentioned in my last video, that it can be quite long series, but this is one I'm enjoying and quite invested in now, and I think I've got the first 5 volumes, so I'll probably try and get one once I get that 5th one read. And then I want to carry on with Death Note. I was planning on reading basically a volume a month, so basically half of this a month. I haven't read any, so I'm going to try and catch up with 2 and 3 this month. This is just 2, but I'm going to try and read both this month, because then I can then read, then I'm up to date where I wanted to be, basically. So that's what I'm going to try and do with that. I'm going to carry on with Sin City as well. I've been reading this series, but I've been reading it in the not in the publication, not in the like number order, but in the I can't think, like the yarn order, for want of a better word, like chronologically rather than publication. So I'm enjoying this, and I want to carry on with it and get this series finished as well. So that's that. And then, because I've not read much comic books and graphic novels and manga for a while, I thought I would read a Batman comic. So I've picked The Black Mirror. I think I only read this once, and I do like Batman comics, so I thought I'd reread that as well. Yeah, that's by, let me see what that's by, Scott Snyder, Jock, and Francesco Francavilla. So yeah, I just love the cover of that. The back cover's pretty cool as well. But yeah, that's everything I plan on reading. That's a massive stack. I know it's June on the Range. I was hoping to get to a few westerns, but I've kind of shot myself in the foot with the amount of books I've got from the library at the minute to read more than that, to read June on the Range books. But I will see how I get on with that stack. I think there's some books there that sound amazing and just I won't be able to put down, but Silence at the minute I feel like I struggled with, and I want to get out of that struggling slump that I feel like I'm in. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of the books, or if you have any recommendations, or if there's any books you'd like me to talk about, then just let me know or drop in the comments. But I will see you in the next one. I probably won't do any more videos now until Tuesday. I've got 2 tags I want to do. One I was tagged in by the Mild Rumpus. I think a book chat with Pat also tagged me in, and then I've got one by that Tristan tagged me in at L-Space Books. I've not done both of them because I want to think about them a bit more. I did quite a few tags last Tuesday, so I will be doing them this Tuesday. But yeah, the Intimidating tag is one, and then I'm not sure what the Mild Rumpus one's called, but I've got a few ideas for the Intimidating tag, but I just want to finalise them questions and then do those tags. But that's my next videos anyway. So I'll catch you in the next one, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.